TVB!
What's up, Bradford A?
Well, I'll tell you, man. I know
What's
this is
going
not.
on?
This is not a sports podcast. What? It's not. It's not. It's not.
Turn it off. Turn it
And
off now. It's not a sports podcast. Go ahead.
I've
We
talked.
should talk about it more, though.
Well, the thing is, I've been putting a lot of Sacramento Kings content out there just because it is so exciting in this town that I live in, Sacramento. Bye, Steve. It's nice talking to you.
Hey, dude, I was able to go around the corner, grab my coffee, and keep one AirPod in.
Amazing.
That's amazing. Go for it.
It's like when you live in LA, the only time that LA feels like a city where people care about each other is when the Lakers are winning. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Sacramento,
totally, yes.
Sacramento is better than that, but when the Kings are winning, it is all encompassing. And well, it doesn't happen very often, so I can't say this is like a trend. But like they love the Kings all the time, but this is a very exciting time. So I've been putting a lot of Kings content out. Kings content, that sounds so stupid. I've been posting a lot about the Kings.
Yeah.
But that does not mean that I'm not still a Celtics fan. So people are getting confused. And I'm like, they're not mutually exclusive. Like I can be a Celtics fan and a Kings fan.
Wow. Look at this little switcheroo.
Yeah, they can
both
exist.
Dude, listen, I'm from Ohio.
Yes.
I'm always going to root for the Browns.
Yes.
Because I grew up that way. But when I was in Nashville, I love the Titans. Right. So it's like I had two teams. It was cool.
I mean, more joy. Why?
Sure,
why
not?
Why not more joy?
Why not? You don't have to be exclusive to one team.
Right.
Like you can't ditch your team. Like I could never ditch the Browns because I grew up there.
Right.
Right. Even though they don't win, I got to support them.
Right.
But, when the Titans were winning, it was cool to have a winning team.
Totally.
So.
Yeah, it's super fun right now. Like every game's an event. It's just,
yeah, sorry.
If they go into the Celtics have a chance to go to the finals, the Kings have a chance, of course. They're not expected to, and that's where I'll be like, oh,
that's where it gets exciting is when they're not expected to and they make it.
Yeah,
that's cool.
I won't be able to root against either of them. I'll just have to just be.
Nor should you.
I'll just have to be. If they end up playing each other, I'll just have to be okay with however it turns out.
Then now we might have a problem.
That's the tough thing. Is
it?
Well, because I live here.
I know.
I don't want to.
Your loyalty is with whom?
The Celtics.
Okay, so then you don't have a choice, sir.
But I know me. Like, there's going to be a part of me that wants this to experience.
But you have to go with the Celtics. You can't be wearing King stuff.
So I know it's gonna.
But you can kind of like hope that maybe they are okay.
Right. That's the challenge. So, I just want more joy. So
more joy. Yeah, that's awesome though.
Yeah. So how are you?
I'm doing good, man.
All right.
My voice. It's okay.
I know.
Got a little bit of cough this week. I think it's going around, but I didn't have any symptoms otherwise. So I'm good.
There's always something going around.
Well, and it seems like there is always now, but
yeah.
I don't really get sick often.
Right.
So this is my my cough that I've had for about a week.
Yeah.
But doing everything I can to make it okay. So
yeah. Well, and you generally have a little bit of a you're a clear your throat kind of guy.
Yes, and that is another issue. Yeah. Seems genetic to me because my grandpa did it, my dad did it, and there's something, and I don't know if it's probably food related. I mean, I'm not stupid, so there has to be something going on, whether it's dairy, almond milk. I could be any of those things.
Or you are over 50. Maybe it's just old man cough.
Yeah, and this old man will kick your ass when I see you. Whenever I see you again, you will get I don't know what I'm going to do to you. I don't know what I'm going to do to you this time because I haven't seen you for a while. First, it's going to be a hug, and then it might turn into a really, really tight hug, and then a squeezing of the head and the neck, and then who knows? There you go.
Yeah. No, but just there was a theme. It's like my grandpa, my dad. And I'm like, maybe
that's true. You're right.
Just old men.
You know what? I got to get food allergy tested. That's what I need to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like Brooklyn got hers back. So it's like, it was,
was there anything that might be
there wasn't anything that was too crazy. Like she's highly sensitive to coconut.
Interesting.
Highly sensitive. Yeah.
I just put some coconut whipped cream in my coffee.
Yeah, so don't give it to her.
Okay.
So that's one thing, but it's interesting because we don't really know what we're allergic to or what we have sensitivities
to. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And if it's just mild, it could be if you're eating that mild thing a lot, then it's not mild anymore.
Yeah. So my oldest she had a dairy allergy and she just has some sensitivities, but it does seem like it's when it's, like it's not just one thing. It's like, it almost builds up. It's cumulative. Almost. It's like, she has, and then all of a sudden she won't feel well. But yeah, so it is interesting. And I took one of those, I think I told you, I took one of those blood tests that gives out food sensitivities.
Yeah. How was that?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I drained my whole forearm into it. It would look like a crime scene. Cause it's like do
highly
this
doubt that.
And then put a couple drops of blood on this circle. It's like taking a standardized test with blood. Fill
Did
the dot.
Work?
Fill the dot completely. So I'm like, so and it showed that I don't have any. Nothing was like in the.
Can you send me that test?
The actual blood?
No, I don't want your blood. I've seen your blood at Port Chuck. Remember when you cracked your head open and you bled all over the snow?
I did.
I came out and you were circled by 17 EMTs.
I might have to put that picture up in the podcast right now.
You should probably.
Would that change the rating?
I don't know. It might change the algorithm. But honestly, just send me the link to that test. I want to get allergy test done.
I would actually go to an actual person rather than doing an internet test.
No, dude, I don't have time to go to a person.
That's true.
I don't have any time. No time.
Ever well or something like that.
Okay, I'll check it out.
We'll try to get them as a sponsor.
Oh man. So what's up?
Well, so I was, I try to keep up a little bit with what's going on in the daytime world.
Oh, you're watching all the shows now?
I don't know if I'm watching all the shows, but so it's one of those times where I was like, okay, people are traveling to crazy locations, right? Like all of a sudden somebody's
on soaps in general.
All of a sudden somebody's
they're making it more international.
Right. So. Somebody had to go to Venezuela and
on General Hospital. And
I think everybody knows that there's the team at General Hospital is not doing a location in Venezuela.
Most do.
I think most people do know that, right?
Most people do. Yes.
Well, I got to say, I was watching an episode of I was watching an episode of Ted Lasso last night, and they did this whole episode in Amsterdam. Like they were in it, like, and someone must have been like, "Hey guys, where do we want to go? Amsterdam? Cool, we'll write it." But it was beautiful, and it was like a love letter to the city, but it was also forwarding for the characters. It was lovely.
Yes.
Soaps don't have that luxury. And like I recall you and Sam used to have your tropical, used to go.
Yeah. Or just go to Sonny's Island, right? Or down to Sonny's place, wherever at Puerto Rico or wherever it was, we would go down to.
Did Sonny have a tropical hub?
Yeah, he did. Yeah. Because he had a casino. He had casinos out of country.
Throughout the time?
Yeah.
Do you think he still has them?
I don't know. I don't know who's running those anymore. I don't know where those are. Maybe they're just all slot machines in a gas station.
Don't invest in those, by the way.
Yeah. That's funny. That was a sore subject. Sorry.
Yeah.
Don't invest in those unless you're Sonny Carithos.
Yeah. Well, so when I was managing your money, which I lost a lot of, I think, or misplaced, I don't recall any of it ever coming from. I know there was some offshore accounts, but I didn't know that the money was being made offshore. I didn't know that it was casinos.
People are going to know it's probably Puerto Rico, but yes, that's where he had.
Okay, so when you and Sam would go to your tropical,
I think it was Sonny's place on the island. When we would kind of be on the lam. We'd go somewhere.
There was like a safe house that was attached to Sonny's.
Yeah, I mean, it was nice. It wasn't it's a safe house. Yeah, but it was really nice. But here's the difference, and this is what you're getting at. This is what you're getting at. Okay. Now the viewers or the listeners, now, because we're on YouTube.
Hey,
by the way, these podcasts, we have a lot of these in the bank. So if there's someone like you're really interested in, you know, because we always get that like, whoa, where's the full episode or where's this? Just check, just go back, scroll back or Google it or whatever, because it's there.
We've done 5 years of full episodes of full length. Sometimes they're an hour plus.
Sometimes 2 hours. Yeah.
We didn't always have a full video of them back in the day. But if you're interested in a certain actor, like for instance, we did 2 episodes with Jeannie Francis. We went to her house and sat down with Jeannie for almost 2 hours.
That's amazing that we went to her house, by the way.
Yeah, it was cool. So that was cool. So you can listen on Apple Podcasts. You can listen on Spotify. You can listen wherever you get your podcasts. Now, new podcasts are coming out here on YouTube, but they are also in full audio form on those podcast platforms. Yes. And when we have video clips of them, we're sharing them here. But we don't necessarily have full episodes. And sometimes it just makes sense to cut it up, because putting an hour-long video on YouTube is doesn't always work.
Sure. Yeah, for sure.
So anyway, yes.
All right. So to get back to you, so this is not something that General Hospital did often. They did go out of country. I think every daytime show had some bit of internationalism where they wanted to travel somewhere or spies or crime or whatever.
In the 80s, they had some money, and so they could do some of that.
Well, they could do, yes. I mean, they actually did that, right? That was the big event. That was the sweeps story sometimes, but I think still like, oh, you're traveling to wherever. And then all of a sudden.
Well, you're in a cave in Greece. Where are you?
Yeah, I think I'm still in a cave in Greece. Did they find my body?
No. So who knows? You could be anywhere. But
that's true.
The people that assume that Jason is dead, they assume he's under some rocks in Greece.
In Greece, in the cave.
Yeah, in the Cassadine caves or something.
I don't know if it's their caves, but yeah, maybe. You might know more than me. But what I'm saying is, like, if you looked at Beyond Salem when we did this, right? There's a great example. Oh, we're going to Monaco, and then they show a beautiful shot of Monaco, a cool building, and then you're in the casino, then you're interior, right? So if I recall, I remember even further, kind of back in the day that Bold and Beautiful would do that.
They'd go to Monaco?
No, they use stock footage.
Oh, yeah.
Before you would jump into the actual set in Hollywood in the studio, right? GH didn't do that a lot.
Oh, interesting. Right.
So I think it's becoming more prevalent now, because I know there was a time where they would show the Quartermain house, the exterior, like outside, right? And then they pop inside, right? So look, it gives a little production value. I mean, to some degree.
GH would generally just they would, if there was an exterior, they'd build it. Like you'd have like the doorway or something. Do you know what I'm saying? Like versus cutting away to stock footage.
No, well, you couldn't cut away. I mean, first of all, the stock footage is to add value, production value.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, that's the only reason they're doing it.
Right.
Right, like on Beyond Salem, they, the van that I threw, Patch and John Black in, then they showed it driving off in an alley. They used stock footage.
Oh, okay. So
right. They got a van that matched the stock footage, and then and it looked like, oh, cool. They actually drove down the alley.
Oh, that's cool.
Right. Yeah. So what you're saying is like, we would shoot sometimes the Quartermain front of the house.
Yeah.
You wouldn't see more than
no. You just see the
doorway
door.
and I mean, it's like, but I think I think they pop out and they see the front. Oh, that's what the Quartermain mansion looks like. And then you pop in with the scene in the den. Right.
Well, just because I also know, with Kelly's Diner, for example, there was a big outdoor set, and so you wouldn't put in stock footage of Kelly's Diner because you already have the set that's outdoors.
Well, yeah, you see I guess the facade of Kelly's. Like people know what the Kelly's looks like, just that one wall, right?
Right,
and then kind of whatever the other brick wall. Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know if people believe it. I don't know if people care.
Right.
Like, does it add production value? I think it probably does to some degree. But no one's going to Greece. No one's going to Monaco.
But it is funny. Like I guess every story, in our genre, you have so many stories to tell. Go places. Sure. It's, okay, now we're in Australia. Awesome. We're in Australia now.
But does it matter?
No, it doesn't. You're right.
No, it doesn't matter. Like literally, like seriously,
no.
like this is always the question, right? When
Yeah.
like even with GH would go up and do the exterior shots outside, right?
Right.
And then Days did it too. They had a portion outside that was set up that they would go out. And then Y&R did it too.
Well, do you remember Guiding Light went like guerrilla filmmaking style at like the last couple years? Like they did everything outside.
And
do you remember that?
And a lot of handheld, I'm sure.
A lot of handheld, yes.
Yeah. I mean, was that a cost cutting thing?
I think so.
Yeah. So, and that's not always great.
No.
Because that's such a big dramatic change for people to go, hey, listen, there's a few reasons why people watch soap operas. And what it does is it makes you expect that genre to look the same.
Right.
If anything appears out of what we're used to seeing for 20 years, it's like, wait, what's this?
Sure.
You know, and that's why I think when we talked about to Lisa Cicero from Loving to the city was so far away from what soap viewers were used to seeing.
Interesting.
Because it was a one camera in some instances, and it did have a film effect, and they were trying to update it and make it look like, hey, this is a TV show. This is a real film show. Right. Now, was it because the fans were like, wait, what is this? Like, we're not used to this. Just give us the close-ups, give us the stuff that we're used to seeing, how it's lit, all these things. We don't need an exterior shot of the part of whatever. We don't need you to shoot outside either. Right. So it's like, did it kind of form itself?
Sure.
Right. With how it was shot originally, because they needed to shoot a lot fast. And we have 4 cameras. And even back then, it was still faster than most shows shot.
Yeah.
Right. So it's really interesting to look at the evolution of that. Like, is it bringing new eyes? No. Do people care if you're exterior or not? I mean, I know the actors don't care because it makes it more difficult a lot of times to be outside with the noise and all the things.
There's much more to contend with. Yeah.
Much more to contend with. And it really takes you, look, and I know this is what we do as actors. And I know, you know, like when I went off to do Taken, you know, a lot of my scenes were in somebody's house that they rented.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, to me, it just felt so strange. Like to not be on a set felt so uncomfortable for me. I literally had to sit in that house for a long time to go, oh, this is where I'm going to be working.
Right.
You know? Yeah. So, I don't know, man. I mean, that's always the argument. Is it nice to do something different? Sure. Does the crew like to get outside for a couple of days? Yeah, it's great. Is it different for us? Sure.
Just to mix things up. But that's an interesting question to pose to our viewers here. What do you guys think? Leave it in the comments. Is it when you see something that is different than the normal, is it like, oh, what's this? This is interesting. Or is it like, oh man, like just give us what we expect. Like, I'm sure not all of you will agree, but I don't know, there's something about sunlight, actual sunlight, when it hits like the kind of cameras that we use, man, it's a different look.
Yeah. And I think you almost have to go in prepared, right? Like when they did go to Puerto Rico, Maurice and Vanessa Marcel, and some other people went to, I can't remember who everybody was. We went to Puerto Rico, but it was well shot. It was cool sunset shots. It was, you felt Puerto Rico.
Right.
Right. And that's when you go, oh, this is different. I feel this.
Right.
Right. And it looks good. And it's my favorite characters. And it's cool story. And it's this. Right.
Right.
Is it worth it then? I think it could be.
Right. But if we're just going out into the parking lot to be in the parking lot versus a parking lot set where we could do that.
Yeah. I mean, like you said with Ted Lasso, like Amsterdam, right? They're showing they're showing the best of Amsterdam, right? That's what we want to do, and have the characters be forwarded, like you said. Like that's cool. Like, if we're gonna do it, let's do it.
Right.
Let's not go, hey, we're gonna shoot on the balcony over here in this fake park scene that everybody, oh, so you just moved the stuff from inside to outside on a balcony, and now we're in a park? No, we're not. They know we're not in a park. At least, you know, with GH, there are the trees and all the things outside, right? That looks like of course, people saw palm trees and all that stuff. It's not trees indicative to Port Charles,
upstate New York. Yeah.
Upstate New York. But, I don't know. I've heard mixed reviews. Yeah. But leave it in the comments. That's an interesting question. Like, we talk about soaps and we talk about the genre. We talk about why people got interested in soap operas in the beginning, and it was easy for people, and it was about relationships, and that's all it was.
I think so.
Right. I think so. And this is another thing we could talk about in the comments too, because the relationships are everything, and then at some point, I don't know where it was, you were probably in those years when this change happened, was like, oh, we're going to go from 4-page scenes now to 1.5. Oh, it's got to be quicker. Is it people's attention span? I don't think it is when it comes to our audience. When it comes to telling story, there's nothing better than watching two characters really have a great scene.
Right.
And you'll sit there for 4 or 5 minutes watching this scene, and if
you're engaged,
if you're engaged, right? And it's good writing, and it's all the things that we love, and you love the relationship. You're like, this is amazing, right? Yeah. It doesn't have to be one cut to progress story so fast all the time, and then we get into the fantastical stories. Like, then we go there, so, I think it's always, 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 when it comes to anything from a TV standpoint, film, just keep it simple. Right. And that's what soap operas did in the beginning. They just kept it simple.
Right.
Like, we know where the cameras are. We know how it's going to be lit. We know where it's shot. Let's fall in love with these characters. And if those two don't work, let's mix them up and put them with someone else. And, oh, we found something. Let's go.
Right.
So, I heard an amazing story. If I can share it with you,
please,
about, Bill Bell.
Oh yeah.
Right. Who was one of the greatest.
That's Y&R. He was the
creator. Yeah. One of the greatest ever in what he did. Right. Yeah. So I heard a story that, he was so involved in everything that he did. Like, when sometimes they'll put a couple characters together and do a kind of a chemistry test.
Sure.
Right. And that's been known that they do that, and they go, oh, let's see how these two work together. Okay, great. Oh, it doesn't work. Okay, great. We'll move them somewhere else.
Yeah.
Right. And that's fine. So I heard an awesome story about Bill Bell, about how, to get more ideas for people and the characters, to make it fun and have the actual actors who are characters be invested.
Yeah.
What he would do is he would do a big party scene, and he would watch who migrated to who.
Wow.
Now tell me how freaking deep that is. Because I just got goosebumps, because here's a guy who goes, hey, how can I see what these people love to do, who they're invested in real life, what the chemistry is? I'm just going to do a big party scene. I'm just going to watch, be an observer, and go, oh, those two, I never thought those two had that. Like, you know how we in party scenes, right? Like in the old days, right? This is the nightmare that the directors would have.
Well, that's the thing is,
if they had a huge party scene, they'd be like, the directors would be the most stressed people on the earth, right? Because we usually had so much to do. And us as actors, we would migrate to our people. We'd be joking around, and they'd be like, okay, let's roll tape. And then you'd run back to your spot.
Well, that was my question, is like, so he would watch between cuts? Like, who would?
Correct.
Oh, because as an actor, I wouldn't just wander during a take. I'd be to be told where to go.
He would see what's going on in between scenes. And he'd watch people's behavior, and he'd be like, oh, that guy's really funny. Why aren't we writing comedy for this guy? Or this person really, these two really get along over here. Why don't we just test that?
Wow.
I thought that was when I heard this story, I'm like, this is why this guy was a genius. Right there, that alone says everything.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool, man.
I mean, you do learn a lot about people, how they behave in between.
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
And it's an indicator.
Oh, for sure.
Of what could possibly be something great.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I just thought that, and I'm sure other producers did this to some degree, like, oh, these two work together really well. But the fact that he would just do it just to observe, I thought was an amazing, was such a really cool thing that he was like, oh, this person does this and this I'm going to try this. Try it. Why not?
That is so cool. Well, we gave you guys lots to think about, and feel free to respond in the comments. And
really, the comments are, do you care if there's a location or not?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So do you care, like when we did big things, and GH always did big locations, and so did other shows. B&B still does those.
Yeah.
So do you like say the Puerto Rico location? And does it matter if, Y&R is outside in the park, or GH is outside in the park, or Days is outside in their back lot? Does that matter to you guys? Do you go, oh, this is something new and refreshing? Or you're like, no, just get the scene, do the scene.
Right.
So I'm interested in seeing the comments.
Yeah. Thanks for watching our shows and our show.
Yes.
We appreciate y'all. And make sure you're subscribed here on YouTube, and look around. If you're looking for something, chances are we have it.
we had a lot of bad jokes. Right?
That's for sure. That's for sure. All right, everybody. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you next week.
You guys are awesome.
Please subscribe to our YouTube channel.